All right, finally getting to some additional thoughts on Coloring Book by Chance the Rapper. I'm not going to sit here and say that this is my favorite album of all time or that I listen to it constantly or anything like that. I enjoy it. I like it. But honestly, when it comes down to it, I think this is a beautiful album. Even though it might not be the first thing I reach for in the hip hop lane or anything like that, the first note I have is how this is just what I wrote. Love the celebration of life, nice change from an artist suffering. That's something that comes up fairly often on this channel as we go through these albums, right? Here's this incredible album, this powerful, emotionally touching, moving, stirring album. And so often it seems like it's sourced from pain, suffering, trauma. And, sometimes it's like, God, I hate enjoying this because the person that had to go through this pain to then create the art for it that, it sources from essentially. Like I'd really rather not have people suffer, right? But it is what it is. And at least, the silver lining exists that some of these people can make incredible music from the trials of their own life. So it's nice to put on Coloring Book and go, here's a great album that's beautiful and moving, and it's positive. And it's sourced from a positive place. It isn't all, sunshine and rainbows. Summer Friends is pretty sad. Great song. Love that song, but it's pretty sad. Just the idea of your friends that you have over the summer don't make it to the end of the summer because they get killed because there's so much, gun violence out in the Chicago area. But overall, I love hearing an album where it's somebody essentially celebrating their life, looking back on their life, really appreciating and cherishing what they have, remembering what's lost, seeing how they've grown and changed as a person. I think it's cool. It's very, very cool. And the production really supports that mood, that vibe of just celebration. And another note I have is I saw some comments, people talking about, well, this is when Chance fell off and all this other stuff. I don't know anything about that. But I did think about that. I remember, I'm going to share a little story. I remember, was this still in the 1900s? No, this was 2000s. I was at Best Buy. I was in the CD section, which is what we used to do back in the early 2000s. And there was this guy on his cell phone talking to his buddy, complaining about the newest Deftones album because it wasn't hard enough. And the album was the self-titled one, the fourth one, not White Pony. It was the fourth one, which I really like. I like the fourth one. And he was just sitting there in the aisle, kind of the same aisle I was in. I kept trying to get away from him, but he was kind of pacing as he was complaining to his friend because he was going to get his money back from Best Buy. And it's like, once you open the CD, if the CD works, you can't return a CD just because you don't like the music that's on it. That's not part of the policy. And I remember thinking to myself, man, that's kind of sad. Not that people can't enjoy hard music and all that kind of stuff. I listen to a lot of that. But I found it sad, the idea that basically he was a fan of a band and this person was legitimately upset that the band was evolving and possibly growing. And I mean, with that album specifically, there's some pretty heavy songs on that album. So I was kind of shocked. And it just reminds me of this weird kind of trap that some artists get stuck in with their own fan bases where I made this, it's popular, this is what I blew up on, and now I'm moving forward and things are happening in my life and I'm growing and changing as a person, which is good. That's what you're supposed to do. And because of that, I want that to reflect in my art. But then when they share that change, the fan base sometimes, not all the time, sometimes gets upset. And how weird that must be, Especially if you're making an album that is sourced from agony, from suffering, from misery. It puts this idea in mind of my fans only like me when I'm tortured in my own life, I wonder if that's come up before with people. I don't know. But it made me think about that. In terms of Chance falling off, who knows? These are only two albums. I will say I like this more than Acid Rap. He's not squawking like a blue jay, thank God. Oh my God. Oh, that album! I remember sitting down with that. I was like, "This isn't gonna work out at all for me." Let's do favorite songs. Favorite songs. Let's see. Let's see. I skip No Problems. About the third time, Chance goes, "You don't want no problem with me." I go, "You know what, Chance? You're right. I don't want no problem." Boop, and I skip that song. I just gave up trying to like it. I like Summer Friends a lot. Blessings, I will talk about in a second because my wife had an incredible reaction to that. Same Drugs is great. Mixtape grew on me a lot, surprisingly. And no, initially I didn't really like Chance's voice, but I got used to it. And then I love Young Thug and how he sounds in there. And it's cool to hear Lil Yachty in his rapping lane on that. I mean, he raps on Let's Start Here and a little bit of Bad Cameo, you know, but like, that's all I know him for. I don't know him for the early SoundCloud stuff. So it's cool to hear him in that lane. It's kind of fun. Juke Jam's great. Angels has great production. All Night, I really love. Finish Line. I mean, it's almost like one of those things where I don't really have like a favorite song. And I wouldn't even necessarily say any specific song is like great, 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 great. They're all just good. They're all just good. The album is very consistent, in my opinion. Very consistent. Blessings is a good little closer. Finish Line, Drown is great too. It's a great album. Really, really enjoyed it. How great, I'm not totally into, but I love what it is. I appreciate what it is. It's just him essentially saying thanks to the God that he follows and believes in for all these things that have happened in his life, you know. Now with Blessings, I never did get around to asking her because she was driving the truck. We were coming back from Costco and we were listening to it. And
that one.
And I noticed, I was like, what's going on? And Blessings, you know, when the praises go up, the blessings come down. And she was getting stirred up in a good way. I assume it was in a good way. And my wife was funny because I was going to say we do a lot of crying in this house. That's not actually true. We probably do most of our crying in front of this camera, which is a strange, funny bit when you think about it. But when she gets worked up, she can't talk at all, which, I mean, I get that way too. So I never really I'll have to ask you after the video what it was, if she can tell me. Because even right now, she's like totally just fine. But as soon as she hears the song and starts talking to me about it, she'll probably choke up and tear up. And it's just cool to see that. You know, one thing that is...
You're a monster.
No. She called me a monster. It's cool to see... Because it being more of a religious themed song, it's not something I really connect with. So it's cool to see someone who is religious really connect with that, you know, and that's what's special. And I think that's what's great about this album too, is I like that it's a celebration of life, and he's expressing some, you know, religious, I was gonna say opinions, but you know, some of his faith, some of his beliefs there. But I don't feel like he's beating you over the head with it. He's just expressing himself. And it's in a very positive way, and it doesn't feel weaponized, which is nice. Because sometimes religion and faith and expressing the faith can feel that way. It can tread that line a little too closely. So yeah, there you go. Yeah. And here I was kind of worried, I wonder if I won't have much to say. But dang fangled, I did it again. I blabbered on for almost 10 minutes. Good for me. Good job, brain. So yeah, cool album. I'm glad I sat down with it. I'm glad I listened to it. Very positive, which has been nice, right? These last couple weeks, there's been a lot of not positive out there in the world in general. Lots of floods and bombs and what have you. And it's been rough. Last couple weeks, I feel like it's just been... I can feel my anxiety just kind of bubbling a little bit, you know? So it has been nice putting this on sometimes, and I do feel myself come down a notch, which is cool. Okay, y'all. There you go. Take care. We'll see you soon.